Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Property Question Time. With me today I've got Saj Hussain, aka the Property Joint Venture Expert. Now Saj has built a multi-million-pound property portfolio with an excess of 150 tenants using none of his own money. So welcome Saj.
Thank you very much.
Hi Saj. So 150 tenants. More than 150 tenants using none of your money. So maybe tell the audience a little bit about that.
Sure, I guess it sounds like a fantastic number of tenants to have, and it's given me a great lifestyle. It means over the years I've done kind of 100 plus joint ventures. I tend to focus mostly on professional lets. I've raised millions of pounds in joint venture funding to go do that, also kind of buying and selling property, and built really a management agency off the back of that as well to run that portfolio, because I enjoy the lifestyle it gives me, but I really don't like the idea of kind of spending all my time looking after properties and tenants.
Right.
I kind of feel blessed I've had this kind of amazing lifestyle I have, but the thing is it kind of really wasn't always like this.
Okay, of course, I think I know from your speeches that you used to have another job, in fact, another business. Also, I think a multi-million-pound business. So maybe could you tell the audience a little bit about what you did before property? And
Sure. Okay, so I guess for me, my journey started 20 plus years ago while I was still at university.
Okay.
And at Wolverhampton Uni, not very far from here. And I did a 12-month work placement, and that really did give me a life lesson.
Okay.
And that was, if I was going to get up every day doing something I don't like for somebody I don't like for the rest of my life,
right.
It's not going to be for me.
Okay.
Very quickly I decided I was going to probably be unemployable, and the reality is I was always quite entrepreneurial. Even as a kid, I really enjoyed business. And I did a degree in business and IT, and I thought, yes, I need to be doing an IT business. And it was a buzzword as well at the time.
Yeah.
I think some of it was just right time, right place. And early 90s, I started an IT company, which evolved massively over the years from where it started and what we did. But it kind of grew, and it did become a multi-million-pound business. Had 20 plus employees in that.
Okay.
And it did give me a really nice lifestyle. In my 30s, I could proudly say, I'm a millionaire, whatever that means.
Self-made millionaire.
But success means different things as we evolve in life and that. And for me, today, really success is about freedom and choices.
Okay.
At that time, I was just driven by money. It was a case of, this is what I want to achieve. But unfortunately, that drive also kind of led me down a slightly slipperier path where I got involved in some riskier activities within the business we were running. And one part of the business was making fantastic returns. The other part of the business was really suffering and losing money, so it's subsidizing. And ultimately, the whole thing in the end came tumbling down. I had to just kind of put a stop to it. And for me, when I look back now, that was just probably the most painfulest time that I had. Not only kind of just, I felt like, I was a failure because I'd never experienced anything like that before.
Right. And what year was this?
This was, where are we now? Probably about 10 years ago, nearly 10 years ago.
Oh wow, okay. Right.
And, I think one of the most struggling things for me was the fact that I had to let go of all these people who were working for me, depending on me to pay their salaries every month.
Yeah.
I just kind of wallowed around in self-pity for quite a while, and just kind of blaming everybody and everything. And I think
maybe blame the economy or
at that point, I think it's because of this and because of that. And the reality is that when I realised that I have to look at myself. We're here today, wherever we are in life, because the decisions we take. Yeah. Every decision we take takes us down a certain path. And realising actually, I'm here because of the choices I've made in my life. That's why I've enjoyed.
Good and bad, yeah.
Absolutely, good and bad. And I remember thinking the most wealthiest and successful people I knew at the time, friends, clients, associates, most of them were either investing in property or they kept money in property. And that's really what got me curious about property, and kind of this journey about, maybe property is something I should be exploring more of. And from an Asian culture, it tends to be in our blood to be thinking about property. But if I've been honest before that, it never really interested me. Okay. And it was something I was keen to get involved in because I could see it was long-term wealth. Yes. It was sustainable. Right. But the challenge was I really didn't have any money at that time.
Okay, so there you were, some first of all, being your own boss for a number of years, so have success, and then you've had this quite a big sort of clash. You've got no money. I would say probably not that much knowledge, maybe. Would that be correct? You know, or you know, people around you simply successful in property. So, I mean, I'm sure that people in the audience have similar kind of periods in their life. I know I've had that. So, what steps did you take? And hopefully, the audience will get some value out of that. You know, so what did you do next?
I think. You know, when I looked at some of the wealthy people I knew that were making money from property, and you know, I don't know if you ever have the experience, you kind of meet people that probably not, we feel they're maybe not as smart as us, but they're considerably more successful than us, and you ask yourself, why is that and how can that happen?
Especially when you've got a degree as well.
2 degrees, never mind 1.
Okay.
2 certificates on the wall, that's never helped.
Right.
But you know, it kind of made me think that this can't be that difficult.
Right.
But the reality is we don't know what we don't know.
Yeah.
And what I started doing, I started attending networking events, learning stuff off the internet, reading loads of books. I'll be up to 3 o'clock in the morning on forums and stuff. And I don't know if you ever experienced that, but you know, I'm just absorbing all this information, and then I'd be jumping from course to course. I didn't have a lot of money at the time. I was kind of low cost courses. Yeah. You know, 1 week I'd be learning to kind of to use LHA as a strategy to kind of create huge income. Another time I'd be learning about flipping properties, and then you know, a few weeks later be about buy a house for £1 and then no money down. You know, just jumping from here to here to here, and I thought I was doing the right things because you know, I'd grown up thinking knowledge is power.
Yeah, I think
you need to know stuff to get anywhere in life.
Yeah, I think you probably come from a similar kind of background from me. You know, from full background, and education was the only way out.
Yeah, it's like the ladder out.
But I'm not built.
We're not built for boxes.
So I think you touched on another point there, which again I feel that I had similar kind of experience, and similar audience. You've seen all these different kind of strategies. You mentioned it, LHA. Right now it's lease options, or and I'm sure like serviced accommodation as well. But somehow you decided to focus on one. Can you just tell the audience first of all, which one did you decide to focus on? But what led you down to that?
Okay. Well, let me talk about how it happened rather than what I chose to do. So how it happened was I kind of, you know, I realised that actually for about 2 years, I'd learned a huge amount, but actually earned nothing.
Okay.
And I earned nothing because there was no focus and growth in any one strategy.
Okay.
I knew so much about so many different strategies.
Right. Okay.
I hadn't actually implemented anything that worked.
I'm sure you read my bio. I think it's very similar. Okay.
And you know what? And it's funny you say that because I'm sure many people relate to that.
Exactly.
Many people relate to that, and that was my journey too. I'd kind of be learning all this stuff. And the reality is, you know, you get to a point where you just can't see the wood from the trees. You know, everything just becomes a blur, and you get frustrated and overwhelmed. That's kind of where I was. And for me, the kind of the change happened when actually I found a mentor who trodden down that road, who saw what I couldn't see, and kind of, if you like, held my hand and guided me through it. For me, that was the biggest change. And prior to that, I never really had any experience of kind of mentoring, coaching or guidance as such, because I'd always been self-employed. There was no formal entrepreneurship skills. You just learned it as you go along. And so that really helped me, and the biggest difference it made, it helped me focus my mind into one thing. It was a case of, look, Saj, what do you want to achieve? Well, I need to make some money. How much do you need to make? Why do you need to make that much? Where are you now? What skills, knowledge, resources do you have? Where do you want to get to? What's going to be the best route to get to there?
Okay, so who was this mentor then?
So mentor at the time for me, Simon Zucci, who I still work with, and I even work closely with him. I deliver some of his trainings and stuff now. And so, you know, he's a great friend as well. So, you know, he made a big impact for me. I'd learned lots of stuff from lots of different people by that stage. So Simon and his environment really made a big difference for me.
You focused on something,
Yes, for me, it was a case of I was quite happy sitting in front of people, chatting to them about selling their property. And a few years ago, when there was lots of kind of opportunities in terms of buying property, which kind of seems to be the case again now.
You know,
I got very good at finding these opportunities. But what I was actually rubbish at doing is closing them off and actually completing them. And that was because in my mind I was thinking, well, I don't really have the money to do this deal, so I might be here putting this deal together, but I've got no ability to be able to complete on it. And the focus I kind of put into place really helped me do, right, okay, what we need to do is just complete on these one at a time.
Right.
And the way I ended up doing that is I kind of stumbled into joint ventures.
Okay.
So I'd find a good deal, I'd partner up with somebody, they'd fund it, I'd use my time, skill and experience to kind of make the thing work, and we'd share the profit. And it started off by being just single lets and making 50, 70, 80 quid a month. Then it was a case of, okay, well, I'm going to need a lot of these before before I can say I'm financially free.
Yeah.
And then I started exploring bigger properties, HMOs. Effectively, they're going to be the highest income earners for me. And then I just really, again, focus. Every stage, it was just focus on one thing until you reach that success.
Okay, can I just, again, here's some points which, for me, they're very relevant. Maybe not today, just recently or a couple of years back, but again, the audience will find value in this. So, there you were, no money, a little bit of education now. So, what made the investors look at you and say, okay, yes, I want to invest with you, especially your very first few joint ventures? Because I think, would that be correct? Would they be the hardest ones, the first few?
Absolutely, the first few were all the hardest. And for me, as I said, it was almost like an accident, and I kind of stumbled into it rather than it being like, this is my strategy. You know, if I was approaching now, it'd be very different. But at the time, it was almost, I didn't really know what I was doing in terms of how to structure the deal.
Right.
But I did have the hunger, the drive, and the passion to make it work. It was almost a case of failure is not an option.
Right.
And I get to see lots and lots of people come through property education and kind of do well, and others maybe not do so well, and others fall by the wayside. You know, we see all the time. I've been in this environment, you know, nearly 10 years now.
Right.
And the thing that I see that makes the biggest difference in people's success is those ones that are the most hungry and the most driven.
Right.
Now, for me, it was a case of I'd come from a place of, you know, I've got very little right now. I've got to make this work.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes, I'm going to make it work. And that was the driver for me. And, you know, I had a very nice lifestyle. You know, my daughter was in private school and stuff, and kind of when I took her out, those kind of things were really painful. And you know, it's a case, I don't want that to happen again. I'm going to change this. I'm going to change it permanently. So that deep drive and passion is what kept me going.
Right.
And you know, when you're passionate about it and you're speaking to people, they can feel that passion.
Yeah.
And when you're very superficial, people see that.
Yeah.
You know, people can sense that and see that in you. So when I was trying to do deals, it's a case of, you know, I'd look in my mind, this has to be a good opportunity that if I could, if I had the financial means, I'd buy it myself.
Right.
And then it's a case of, okay, this is an opportunity, how can I talk to somebody about maybe sharing this with me, then funding it, and we share the profit. And because I'd been networking for a little while, I knew lots of people. Right. Lots of people knew me because it was, hey, Saj again. I'm at every networking meeting there is.
Yeah.
And you know, I was just visible all the time.
Right.
And you know, I'd generally try and share my knowledge and help people, because at the time, that's all I had, a little bit of knowledge.
Enthusiasm as well.
And no kind of real experience. But as I started doing one deal, two deal, and started putting a structure into place, it became much easier, because then you've got credibility, track record as well. But the beginning, as you said, the most difficult thing is how do you do that? I mean, now when I kind of talk about joint ventures and I'm teaching a strategy, you know, I talk about the thing you have to do is be clear about what it is that you want to achieve, you know, what the goal is, what you're trying to achieve, and then focus a strategy around that. And ultimately, if it's a case you're out there, you're looking to raise investment money, you have to have good opportunities. If you haven't got good opportunities, then you're in the wrong business. You've got to be able to have good opportunities that other people can then invest in. Now, the investing bit is almost, the property is almost a little bit like a carrot you're dangling in front, because that's just the thing that interests people to initiate the conversation with you. Ultimately, people are investing in you as an individual.
So what you're saying, the property is just a starting point. It's like opening up a conversation, but really they're investing in you.
Absolutely, yes. You've got to be investable.
Yeah.
So you have to make yourself attractive for investment.
Right.
And that's, you know, there's many different ways to do that. You know, in the time that we have, a kind of few quick tips is just you know, put good stuff out there. You know, if you're meeting people, if you can't, you know, offer them any good, or definitely don't do anything bad to anybody. You know, And you know, but we can all add some value to people we meet in our lives.
Yes.
And you know what? Karma's an amazing thing. It'll come back to us at some point.
Okay.
Without expecting it, it kind of happens when you need it. So get out there, get to know people, understand what people are looking for. If you can point them to somebody else, you bumped into somebody who's looking to remortgage their property because they're trying to get into property, and you know a mortgage broker you spoke to a couple of weeks ago, just connect them.
Make connection.
Yeah, that's it. Just allow people to connect and build relationships, and you know, don't expect anything back for that. And what you're doing, you're building your network.
Right.
So then when you have something, you're already a known entity, rather than somebody's completely
Somebody's
unknown.
trustworthy as well, you know.
Yeah, trust takes time to build, you know, but it's the first steps.
Okay.
You're establishing those first steps in trust.
Right.
Then when you're, because I kind of talk about, you know, push and pull marketing in terms of how you position yourself in the marketplace. You know, you can push out their great opportunities and people are attracted to those, or you could just use that as the initial thing that raises the attention. Because sometimes, you know, I have some great deals. If I'm looking for investors, I might say, look, this is what I've got available at the moment. It might be a really kind of attractive rate or proposition. And what that does, that initiates the conversation. Then you can see whether this might be right, it's a good fit. You want to be in a position where you can choose which investor to invest with.
Okay.
When you're in a position of where you're kind of almost desperate to try and find funds.
Right.
What
you
will
reject
happen?
money, don't you?
Yeah, you do. Yeah. You absolutely do. And you tend to attract people that you may not necessarily want to do business with.
Right.
And then the biggest mistake you can make at that stage is to do that deal with somebody you don't really like, you don't really kind of connect with, but you think they've got the money, I need to do the deal. That's just a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, you're going to be on your back foot right from the start till the end of the deal.
Absolutely.
How long that may be.
Absolutely.
Right.
And some of these, you know, particularly like some of the HMO projects I do, you know, they last a very long time. They're not short-term deals. And, you know, some of these are going to last longer than the average marriages these days. You know, you've got to be careful who you're building.
Well, I'm 25 years nearly in, so, okay. So, okay, Saj, I mean, so we talked about, you know, your past, you know, obviously your success and how you got into property and where you, so what are you doing now? You know, what's exciting? What's on the project? I mean, I know we did a small joint venture, but what else have you got in the pipeline that you want to tell the audience?
I guess, you know, I kind of, I do what I preach, which is focus, and that's what brings you success and results. And for me, I just continue to do more of the same, which is I do HMOs in Birmingham that we keep for the long term, high yielding professional lets, and then also flipping property, which is buying, adding value and selling.
Right.
Now with the changes that are happening in the marketplace, I'm now looking at kind of bigger buildings because of office to residential opportunities. There's seem like some really interesting things happening at the moment in Birmingham, which we're kind of looking to get moving with that this year. So the focus will still be buying, refurb, sell, or buy high yielding to keep. It's kind of simple. It's two strategies. They're quite related in terms of what we do, and I have the systems and the teams in place to deliver that. So I just tend to do more of the same. I also I love helping other people. So, you know, I do some speaking, mentoring, some coaching, and I kind of, if I can help other people add value to what they're doing, you know, there's a number of people that made a difference to me in my journey.
Okay. You're just giving it back.
And really it is, because I remember one that people that I'd met earlier on in my journey in Birmingham, a big investor, I won't say who it was, at the time was being very helpful to me when I was starting off, and I said, you know, why are you being so helpful? I could be your potential competitor in the future.
That makes it easy one.
I couldn't click because I'd come from an IT background where knowledge is really what your worth is. So we'd hide that, we wouldn't share that with anybody. That's your skill, that's what people pay you for. And if people are openly sharing stuff like they quite often do within the property community, you think, is there a hidden agenda here or something?
Right.
But, you know, and he said to me, look, you know, I can't buy every property out there, you know, but I'm happy to help people. And initially I was a bit kind of cautious about that, but actually it was just so true.
Right.
By that person helping other people, kind of, you know, paying it forward, as it were, you know, made a big impact for me in terms of, you know, to want to give to others and kind of help other people as well. Because you know what, property is one of those things, the more people that get involved, it doesn't have a negative impact in my business.
Right.
It doesn't mean if I share strategies and techniques with people that actually that's going to mean that I have less.
I think also, which I've learned, and again, I'm looking at myself, is that, you know, just because you have the knowledge, there's a bigger part of the success, that's the mindset. And so you could tell the same structure to 10 people and only one person will succeed because of his mindset, and it could be due to the hunger or whatever happened to him before, his values or whatever. But yes, you can tell a lot of people it doesn't create that much competition for yourself. Right. So do you think the biggest thing in the future for yourself? I mean, maybe, and also I know that you've opened this sort of recently.
Yeah, I mean, many people don't actually know that I do own a letting and stock management agency as well, just specialising in HMOs in Birmingham and kind of house shares. And really that grew from, as I started my joint ventures and we started doing HMOs, one of the things that I was offering my partners, my funding partners, was the fact that I would be responsible for making sure these houses run well, and they are time intensive to make them run well. And as that portfolio grew, I went through this patch where I was just spending really all my time running HMOs as opposed to finding more projects and kind of working with more investors.
Right.
And I thought this has to change. And that's when I started employing some people and built a team, and then it kind of evolved from that, and actually I turned that into a separate business.
It's a very nice home.
Very nice home. So we're a specialist management agency in Birmingham. We have about 400 rooms in Birmingham which we manage. So probably the largest portfolio of shared accommodation for professionals in Birmingham.
Right.
So we can help manage HMOs in Birmingham for sure.
Okay, cool. Just to finish up with a couple of random questions. Obviously, you're nearly old as I am. If you were talking to a 21-year-old Saj Hussain, what advice would you give him? Because, you know, again, like yourself, you finished a degree and you're coming out of university. What advice would you give him?
So, I guess if I look back at my own life now, I'm thinking if I knew what I know now when I was 21 and I had that hunger, you know, life would be so different.
Yeah.
But you know, I wouldn't want to change anything either, because I believe, you know, there's lessons in what we do and everything's a learning in life, so I wouldn't want to change that. But I can see that there's nothing out there that allows you to build long-term sustainable wealth like property does.
Okay.
Particularly in this country, in this climate that we have right now. It has no barriers to kind of age, gender, you know, race, religion. It's one of those businesses that, regardless of who you are, if you're focused and you have the understanding of the strategies, you can achieve that success.
Right.
So someone just starting out, I'd say, get clear about what you want to do.
Right.
I.e., they may want to create a certain amount of income, 2-3 grand a month, whatever it might be. Why they want to do that? Why is it so important? Many people get involved in property not because they're passionate about the bricks and mortar and everything. It's
doesn't excite me actually.
That's true for many people. It's because it's the stepping stone to something else. Because the financial freedom it allows you to achieve, and then go off to do whatever else you want. And so having that clarity about why they're doing it, what the drivers are behind it, and then working out which is going to be the most suitable strategy for them. Sometimes I'll see people and they say, right, I'm going to go and build properties from the ground up. I say, okay, that's great. So that's good to have those dreams. So what experience have you got that you can relate to be able to do that?
Or a team around you.
What resources, contacts do you have to do that? None. Okay, so I don't want to kind of stop you from thinking big. But we've got to kind of gauge how we're going to do that. So what I tend to say is just look at what your strengths are. So for example, we were speaking earlier kind of off camera about, you know, if you're really good with people, that's what you should be doing. You should be spending your time with people, be it sellers, be investors, not be kind of doing spreadsheets and kind of that kind of stuff, because that's not your strength and that's not your focus. So understanding your strength, look at a strategy that's going to suit you based on your current position. I'm assuming you're not going to have a huge amount of money, so what are low cost strategies you can get into? So rather than me saying this is the way to do it, I'm saying understand your strengths, your position, be clear about where you want to get to, then absolutely focus on doing that, and don't stop until you've achieved that success.
Okay. Final question. I think you may have answered already, but just to clarify. So what was the best advice anybody gave you?
I think you probably realise now. For me, is focus.
Okay.
If anyone's kind of done wealth dynamics or talent dynamics, Roger Hamilton stuff, then I'm a creator star type person along that kind of top line, and that means my brain just buzzing with stuff all the time.
Ideas.
I jump out of bed 3 o'clock in the morning, I've got a new idea.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's really difficult to contain that. At one stage in my life, it was a case of I just wanted to open a new business every month. And I was like, we'll start this and we'll start that.
Yeah.
And what I forgot was, actually, we have to run them as well, not just start them.
Right, yeah. Starting can be easy, but
absolutely
maintaining the consistency.
Running them, building them, growing them, making them profitable. That's where the challenge is. The starting which is the easy bit. Right, I've got a domain name, we're ready to go. So,
right, okay.
I think it was really is about focus. I think that's the thing that's made the biggest difference. Just be really clear what you want and you just focus on that. And if you look at the acronym on for focus,
okay, you focus on. I don't bring it into. I was trying to get this. I was going to bring this in. I mean, do you know what focus stands for? I like saying this to my kids here. It's follow one course until successful.
Absolutely, that's what I was thinking. I had a complete blank then, lack of focus, and that's it. That hits the nail on the head. It's really about the best advice I ever got was look, stop,
right,
and just focus on one thing, make it work.
Yeah.
Then look at the next thing. Don't lift your head up until and there's a fine line between kind of persistency and stupidity as well.
Right. Okay. Yes.
Because sometimes we can say I'm focusing, and you're doing the same thing, you're getting that same result, and they say that's a sign of madness.
Right.
So sometimes we've got to lift our head up and think, maybe I need to tweak a little bit.
Yeah.
Not say right, tools down, I'm off to do something else.
Yeah.
So sometimes we need to tweak our
maybe
strategy
look up and see where you are.
You kind of reflect and say, right, what's working, what's kind of not working, what do we need to change slightly, and then head down again and kind of focus and crack on.
Okay, so as we draw this interview to a close, please share and like and make a few comments. Maybe let me know who do you want me to interview in the future. And with that, I just want to say thank you, Saj.
Thank you so much, Dev. And if I can help in any way, just look me up on social media at Saj Hussain, and I'd love to love to connect with you. So thank you so much for the invite.
Okay, cheers. Bye bye.